You have two life-altering choices when it comes to AI. You can either adopt it or get left behind. And by now, I'm sure you understand that. But here's the problem. It seems that every few months, there's a new AI tool that will be the next big thing. First it was ChatGPT, and then it was Claude. You just can't keep up. Every AI tool you use should either make you more money or save you more time. When you're doing LinkedIn outreach, you need something that seamlessly integrates with your workflow. Which brings us to the big question today. Which AI is the king of LinkedIn? That's exactly what I'm answering in today's video. I put the big three to the test and compared them based on metrics like integration, ease of use, and most importantly, how much money each one has made me. And the results I got are pretty interesting. Let me show you. To keep the results fair and unbiased, this is how I carried out my little experiment. I sent each AI the same basic information, client data, industry-specific pain points, etc. And then I asked each of the three AI chatbots to craft a connection request to a financial advisor. I made sure to give each bot the same prompt. You're a financial advisor trying to run a LinkedIn cold outreach campaign, and based on the information provided, craft a connection request that is under 300 characters. Then I ran a quick campaign for a client using the three different messages that were generated to do a side-by-side comparison. Who was the winner? Well, let's see. With ChatGPT, the response I got was, "Hey Sarah, your recent post about portfolio diversification caught my eye, particularly your take on alternative investments for wealth preservation. As someone working with financial technology solutions, I'd love to exchange idea about how these strategies are performing in the current climate. Would you be open to connecting?" Notice how the message had more of a conversational tone? You get that often with GPT prompts. Now with Claude, this was the response. "Hi Sarah, I noticed your insights on portfolio diversification strategies for high net worth clients. Your approach to balancing traditional assets with alternative investments really resonated with me. I'd love to connect and potentially discuss how these strategies are evolving in today's market." Claude has a more professional and direct tone of speaking. And if you ask me, it sounds more like a message from someone who genuinely values their content. Anyways, my final test with DeepSeek provided me with this response. "Hey Sarah, I saw your experience with high net worth portfolio diversification at Morgan Stanley. My team has developed tools that have helped advisors at Merrill and UBS improve client retention by 22% using similar strategies. Would you be interested in a quick connection to share what's working in this market? No hi here, just straight to the point, first name basis and all." Also, you'll notice that DeepSeek mentions specific companies and provides concrete stats right away. This is something that other models kind of lacked in comparison. Here are the key differences between each response. Claude focuses on building genuine connection based on shared interests. ChatGPT balances relationship building with subtle value hints. And DeepSeek gets straight to potential business benefit. Now, all the responses seem great, but which one is actually the best? That was the next step of my investigation. After compiling the responses, I plugged each one into a trial campaign that I ran for one of my clients, sending them to 100 potential prospects. I also made sure to keep any other factors the same. Then I ran that baby for a week, and here are the responses that I got. Claude AI got us 28% response rate, ChatGPT got us a 21% response rate, and DeepSeek got us a 34% response rate. To my surprise, it actually turned out DeepSeek got the highest response rate. Crazy, right? While Claude creates some more human-sounding messages, DeepSeek's more direct approach hit home a lot better, at least with this particular test group. So does that mean you should switch to DeepSeek for LinkedIn outreach? Not quite. Before you click off this video, I need to make something incredibly clear. These results are not definitive, so don't be too hasty. I don't want y'all to start using DeepSeek and then go, "But Jordan told me to use it." It just doesn't work like that. For starters, this was one specific test group, the financial advisory industry. If you're targeting a different niche, they might respond a lot better to more conversational or friendly messages, like the ones made by ChatGPT or Claude. Cultural differences are also an important thing to consider too. When writing a LinkedIn messages, you can't refer to someone in a Japanese company, for example, with their first name, especially if you're a stranger. There are a lot of nuances that you have to factor in when you're personalizing your outreach. And I actually made a whole video covering this topic, which you can check out in the description. Anyways, back to my second point. Well, in this case, DeepSeek took the cake. Each AI tool has its pros and cons, so let me break it down one by one for you guys. Claude AI first. The pros of Claude is that it creates the most natural human-sounding messages. It's excellent at profile optimization suggestions, as well as it saves significant time compared to manual writing. And finally, it's great at adapting to different industries and contexts. The cons are its limited integration options with other LinkedIn tools, and it's not designed for bulk outreach tasks. It also requires more input to get the optimal results, and it has no built-in lead generation features. On to the next is ChatGPT. The biggest pros of ChatGPT, it has the most versatile tone customization. It also generates creative messaging approaches, and it has an extremely easy to use interface, as well as it can create entire outreach campaigns and sequences. The cons are that it requires third-party tools for bulk messaging. It has no native CRM integrations, and sometimes it creates messages that sound too perfect and occasionally misses industry-specific nuances. Next is DeepSeek. The biggest pro was it had the highest response rate in our test, as well as it has a built-in CRM integration, as well as it has excellent lead generation capabilities and creates templates based on proven success patterns. The cons with this is it has a steeper learning curve than others and is less flexible in terms of messaging. And sometimes it prioritizes conversation over relationship building. The cons of DeepSeek are that it has a way steeper learning curve than the other tools. It has less creative flexibility in messaging, a higher price point than the other options. What's more interesting is actually the results I got. It turns out that the most human sounding messages weren't necessarily the ones that generated the most responses. So maybe we should just let AI take over, right? No, the question of when to use each tool actually depends on your goals. You should use Claude AI when you have a lot of context and you're able to build these super personalized messages with the professional tone. And you're targeting high value prospects where personalization is crucial. You want to sound the most natural sounding messages and you're willing to trade off some efficiency for quality. You should use ChatGPT when you need to test multiple messaging approaches or if you're just starting because it's the easiest to learn. You should use DeepSeek only when response rate is your primary metrics and you need a CRM integration. And if you're a real G, you can do something even better. Use all three of these tools at the same time. You can use DeepSeek for the initial outreach and lead gen, and then you can use Claude to craft human-like follow-up messages to promising leads. And just to top it off, you can use ChatGPT to help create content that supports your outreach efforts. In conclusion, but if you're going off data alone, there's a clear winner when it comes to LinkedIn outreach, and that's DeepSeek. However, the true best tool really depends on your goals and results you're looking for. If you want to build a genuine relationship with a smaller, refined prospects, go with Claude. If you want great all-around approach that can be used for a variety of campaigns, go with ChatGPT. And finally, if you're someone who's very experienced, go with something like DeepSeek. But none of these tools actually matter if you don't have the proper LinkedIn outreach strategy. In truth, these tools are only as effective as the strategy behind them. And there are plenty of big mistakes I see people that are cooking their outreach strategies. If you found this breakdown helpful, you'll love my last video where I covered these mistakes and exactly how to fix them. Check it out on the left, and don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment on what topics I should cover in my next video. Remember boys, LinkedIn outreach in 2025 isn't about who you reach, but how smart you reach them. Catch you guys in the next video.